Hi, this is JonathanBenz, and I'm speaking to you today for a few minutes on No Small Plans, which is chapter 8 in Live a Legacy. So I'm going to be drawing from a couple of ideas here in my book. Before I get into that, I do want to say that I was in New York City a few days ago and was with some great friends in New York. And one of the friends said, I got to tell you, I didn't know that you were doing these video webcasts through YouTube. And she said that she was with her friend in the car and she happened, I guess it came up on her iPhone or something through Facebook or through some social media where I put these out. And she said that, well, she said, Jonathan, what you had to say was right, what I was going through, what I needed to hear at that moment. She goes, it's like sometimes things align and you hear what you need to hear. And so she said, please keep doing these. So in light of that encouragement, I want to say, Jen in New York City, I'm going to keep doing these. Thanks for the feedback. And if any of these are meaningful to you, please let me know. Email me or, email, I guess, is the best thing, or comment here on YouTube or somewhere. But I want to talk to you about No Small Plans. And this, I normally don't like to start any kind of anything that's motivational or inspirational or any kind of spiritual principle or truth with a negative, but I like this idea of no small plans. And I first came across this phrase in the late 90s in the office of a mentor. We used to call her Mother Esther, and Mother Esther gave me a lot of spiritual input during that season of my life, and I learned a lot from her about prayer and meditation and connecting spiritually and spirituality and those kinds of ideas. But she had a sign in her office and it said, make no small plans in this room. She told me that she had actually lifted the quote from somebody else and put it in her office, but it really impacted me at that time because I was at a place in my life where I was ready to dream again. I was in my late 20s and I was thinking about larger things, and I knew I needed to connect to a higher purpose, higher principles to really achieve some new things in my life. So I framed the same quote, printed it out like on LaserJet paper, had it taped up actually on the wall in my office. And when hurricanes Jean and Francis came through in September of 2004, the building where my office was in was destroyed. But I tell you what was interesting. I mean, the roof came off the building, but that sign survived the hurricane. And so I peeled it off, and now I have it framed in glass, and I keep it nearby so that I can always look at it because it reminds me that I always need to be thinking larger, dreaming bigger, and casting fresh vision, not just for those in my life, but for me. And I got to tell you, sometimes that's hard. And in the past 4 or 5 years, it's been challenging at times with the recession and things that we've gone through with our economy. And then sometimes I even look at like the lack of civility in our own nation with the right, the left, all of this feuding back and forth. And sometimes I can get pulled into it, and we can get pulled into a place of really a strong negativity. And that negative vibration can overcome us. And I know that when I feel drawn into that very dualistic kind of thinking, it's time to break free and to come up above. And if I'm going to dream big and think larger and really align with a higher purpose in my life, for me, I've got to break out of that funk and out of that negativity. And that's the only way I know how to frame it, is that negative place, that emotional, negative, funky place keeps me down, and those in my life hate it when I get there, and I'm not too much of a fan of it anyway. But having said that, if we're going to dream big and have big plans, and I don't, sometimes big can just be bigger than where you are now. It doesn't have to be so unreachable. Maybe it is something that seems impossible, but if you're not there yet, that's okay. Just push yourself a little bit more to do something that moves you out of your safety zone. Now, here's the kicker. When you begin to dream big and when you begin to move out of that place of comfort and safety, you're going to feel a lot of uneasiness. And sometimes it's because it's a place of instability. And sometimes, people or and spiritual teachers and motivational people use this thing of, when you learn to walk, you get off balance. And that's sort of the metaphor used for this thing of dreaming bigger, of moving yourself forward. If you're going to have movement, if you're going to have momentum, if you're going to do like in this last talk when we talked about congruence producing synergy, if you're going to really harness momentum and a synergistic effect in your life, you're going to have to move. And that movement and that idea of dreaming and thinking bigger is going to cause some instability around you, because not everybody is a fan when we step out and make moves, because when we upset our own comfort zone, it could upset the comfort zone of those around us. Yet we know that in life, all growth, all progress requires movement, requires risk. So I want to encourage you today, as you think about your life, to dream big. Don't be limited by how things look in the natural. There's a scripture that says, that faith, and I'll get it wrong now, but the idea is that faith is moving forward in spite of how things look, and being assured of something that we can't see. And so really remind yourself today that, the universe is full of abundance. The universe is full of love. The universe is full of goodness. That the way things are designed, that we are not limited by how things look in the natural. And you say, well, wait, you haven't even seen my checking account. Well, you're right. You haven't seen mine either. But I know that if I made decisions always based on limitation, I'm going to get limited results. At some point, I've got to break free out of the limiting paradigms in my life to think bigger and to connect and to align myself with people who can help me to do that. And I want to encourage you that you can do the same today. Think about your life. Think about your purpose. Think about what you want to accomplish. And don't be afraid. Don't interpret your reality by how things look on the outside, but really get alone. Spend some time meditating in silent reflection, really connecting to your spirit and the source of life within you, asking for help, for empowerment, for guidance, but really to think larger and to dream bigger. There's a quote here that I finished in this chapter by C.S. Lewis, and he wrote, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. So set a new goal today, and I encourage you to dream new dreams. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.